I'm a big mindset guy. For those of you that have heard me speak or listen to the podcast, I'm not as technical as some people about KPIs, marketing. I don't really enjoy that stuff. I really enjoy the mindset side of things. So I have a couple of questions. Dutch, who's the wealthiest person in this room?
I am.
Carrie, who's the wealthiest person in this room?
Me.
Cassie?
Me. Oh, it's me.
All right. So that's a big thing for me, okay? One of the things that I learned from the beginning was no matter what room you walk into, you are the wealthiest person in that room, okay? I keep that with me. I think about it all day, every day. All right, so just something I want to share with you guys. A couple of years ago, July 2017, I had never listened to a podcast in my life, except for the two that I was a guest on. The Joe Fairless Show and the Flip Talk podcast with Don Costa.
Why don't you tell them where you did the Joe Fairless interview?
I did the Joe Fairless interview on my cell phone in Cassie's laundry room. There was a point in that interview I literally thought I was going to pass out because I could not breathe. Okay. Luckily, Joe has so many episodes that it's so far in the archives nobody can find it.
It was good. Give yourself some credit.
But I had this crazy idea, July 2017, that I wanted to start a podcast because I wanted to give back to the real estate investing community. Okay, that was my why. And for the first time ever, I told Cassie, I want to do something and I don't want you to be directly involved in it. We do everything in our business together, but I said, this is something that I want to own. I have a specific vision on how I want it to be executed. And I really
looked at him like he was a crazy person.
She did. She was not very happy at first about it. But we went and we walked the house one day, something along those lines, and I said, hey, let's swing into Best Buy real quick. So we went in there, we bought that Yeti mic. I used the headphones that I've owned for about 5 years when we used to office out of Barnes & Noble. That's my original laptop that I've had since 2012 that I still use today. I paid $24 for a logo from the VA on Fiverr, and I created a podcast, okay? That is what went into the titanium vault. And this damn fly, if it does not leave my face, oh man.
So that tells you like cumulative knowledge and experience that we had going into this thing. But he was dead set. He knew exactly what he wanted to do.
So when I talk about being a big mindset guy, the reason why I bring that up is because it's all about taking action. Okay, I didn't have this fear of I don't know what I'm doing because I'd already learned to not have that fear because I didn't know what the hell I was doing when we started wholesaling or flipping houses or buying rentals. So we just jumped into it. When we tried to come up with a name, it was obviously we wanted to brand it something titanium. We brand everything titanium. Okay. For you guys that don't know, the reason why we're called Titanium Investments is because our favorite number is 22. She's born on February 22nd. My number through all sports is 22. And the 22nd element on the periodic table of elements is titanium. That's how this came about. So titanium, and I got this catchphrase one day where I said, unlocking the secrets of real estate investing and entrepreneurship. And I was like, man, that's like something Mike Hambright would come up with. So I was like, well, what would be unlocking? And it's like the vault, the titanium vault. We're unlocking the vault, so that's where titanium vault came about. Okay? So before we started the podcast, though, I started having those fears, the doubts in my mind of what if a local player here posts on Facebook that anybody can have a podcast nowadays. You don't even have to be successful. Does that happen? I was like, well, what if someone's like, look at RJ trying to be like Mike Hambright. He hasn't done half of what Mike Hambright's done. Or, mind you, at the time, when I started the podcast, I had 348 friends on Facebook, okay? Like, half of those were like people I graduated school with, okay? Or worked at Pizza Hut with. Like, I didn't know any of y'all, and none of y'all knew who I was, okay? So I was fearful of creating this podcast and what other people would say, okay?